Hey, we're gonna go see Jordan Reynolds right now. Come on, let's go see what his studio is like.
One of the biggest challenges in VO is finding the work, especially if you don't have an agent. You know, fortunately, I'm not in that position. But you know, if you're just getting started, you have to find, where do I get work? How do I actually get jobs? Like, how do I even get to audition? That's a challenge. But if you're already represented and whatnot, it's kind of just keeping up with it. It's a very reactive business, right? You can't have this structure to your day of like, I'm going to get up at this. You can try, but as soon as you see those ASAP, urgent, and then especially if you have European clients, right? Like, they are pretty much waiting all night if they send you something while you're sleeping, right? So if you're in the fortunate position to be more busy, you know, once you get further along in your career, then it's hard to just kind of plan a day. But that's also what makes it exciting.
It's so true. I find that whenever, you know, I sometimes I'm in the grocery store and it's like, oh my God, there's a cart full of stuff. And I'm like, I gotta go. And it's like, one time I actually went back and my cart was still there. I'm like, this is a great store, right? It was still there. What does your typical day look like?
How it kind of ish goes is, if I didn't want to do all the auditions that came in at 6:30 p.m. and that were due at 9 a.m. the next day before I went to bed, which happens often because sometimes, you know, I want to actually eat dinner and have a life. But if I don't get those taken care of, I will address all the auditions due, aim for 6 a.m., but it's usually more like 7. You know? And take care of all auditions throughout the morning. After that, address gigs that I get to record on my own, and or live sessions that are either here in the studio or in an outside studio here in town. And usually the European clients, you know, like I said, they're waiting. So they either have a very early session or got to take care of those. So get those gigs out of the way. And then after that, it's a little bit more free reign, you know? It's ASAP stuff coming in, or you get to do some marketing. Or I might, later in the afternoon, I will be recording talent for demos. And then at night is when because I tend to work throughout the night. My poor Mara doesn't get to see me as often as we'd like. But at night, it's kind of the only time I can work on demos because it's such a in-depth process. It's not something you can just be like, I'm working for 15 minutes here. And it's so creative and touchy-feely that you can't just kind of do it like it's a regimented machine-like thing. So that's kind of, and get some exercise in, maybe eat, you know, shower once a week. It's, you know, stuff like that.
Tell us briefly about, you know, your demo business, because that's interesting.
Yeah, that's why I would have all this fancy junk for just to do voice. When I got into VO, like around 2011, I did the wrong thing and I made my own demos. But why did I do that? It's because I geeked out on all the audio stuff. Like, I wanted to be a voice talent, but I acquired all the gear, you know, budget gear, and figured out all that stuff first. And then I just put the whole, like, you actually have to be good at VO and have skills and, like, you know how to act. I kind of just relied on, I'll have a nice voice, I'll figure that out, but let me figure out this gear thing. So I nerded out on that, got really good at it very quickly. Within like a year or two, I was, you know, I listened to everyone's demos and I just knew all the genres, but my VO skills weren't good, but my production skills were good enough. And I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars, as most people don't, you know, for whatever reason. And so I made my own, and my very first one that I made, I was very lucky because I knew it was a risk, but I felt pretty good about it. I'm like, because I was comparing, right? I had all these, it's like, go to the best of the best, listen, learn, and try to figure out how they do it. And that's kind of what I tried to do, the best that I could back in the day. And it came out, people were saying like, oh, what, did you have like such and such in LA produced? And this is when I was in Colorado, right? So I'm newer to LA. But they're like, oh, who produced this in LA? Sounds like a top, or did, you know, really big names would come up. I'm like, I did it in my basement in Colorado. It's my first one. You know, they're like, what? Will you produce mine? I'm like, oh. And they're like, yeah, you know, I've never produced one, right? And they're like, yeah, but yours is good. I'm like, yeah, okay. What do you charge, Jordan? $400. So, like, and they're like, okay. So, yeah, that was my first demo, was $400. But I did that because I knew that wasn't what other people were charging. But I'm like, I can't charge what they're charging. They've been doing it for 15 years. Ever since then, it's just rolled. And once I started producing it for other people, I just love it. I love being able to find the best parts of someone's talent and it just like all the best of the best, and then being able to showcase that for them, aimed around their own goal of wherever they want to go in their career. If they want to just target, car brands or get a big LA agent, or they just want to do some more regional, local radio stuff. Everyone has a different goal, but it's fun to take their vision, find what's best in them skill wise, even train them if they need it, and then build a whole demo around that. It's exhausting work. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very time consuming. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm just rolling in cash from all these demos. Like, no, it takes a lot of time because I'm a perfectionist and I need it to sound right, but I can't not do it. People seem to like them, so I'm still doing it.
Can you talk a little bit about your European clients?
Sure.
Sounds very interesting.
Well, yes, I have many British clients now. They're actually very German. These are clients that I've just picked up on my own before. These aren't through agents. But it's just a matter of just finding voiceover rosters is kind of what they're called online. There's a lot of not so good rosters that pay very horrible rates, so stay away from them. But there's a lot of rosters, particularly like in Germany and the UK, who they always have, it's like their target clients who they produce videos for or content for that requires voiceover. They are usually international clients, meaning they need a German version because they came to this German company, but they have a lot of employees in the US, or they just want an American English version that's more a broad appeal for their training videos or 2-minute web videos. So there's a lot of work you can do. And if they want a session, it kind of sucks being on the West Coast because we're the early, other than Hawaii, right? It's like they want 7 a.m. sessions. I'm like, yeah. Do you want me to sound like this on your training video? Because if I could do this if you want, but I don't think you want me. I think you want me to probably sound like this. So we aim for 8, but it's usually evening for them. But it's fun. Give loved ones a gift without ribbons or tags, but don't come in a big flashy boxes or bags. Holiday instant scratch tickets from the Wisconsin Lottery, and remember to play responsibly.
If you were casting a real guy or a gal, if you were casting a real read in a radio commercial, and say it's somebody that has some experience, so you don't have to train them. The
main qualities that I would look for if I was casting a local radio spot, someone who's already trained, has some experience. First and foremost, authenticity. And we all got to work on it as voice talent, right? Every day, I'll even have my agent say, "Don't try so hard." It's like, don't put on. It's funny because we have kind of all this training to sound good, but sometimes it can sound inauthentic because that's not us. We're not bringing us to the table. And in 2018, and it's not going away, authenticity trumps everything, right? You can even have really bad audio quality, unless if that's where it's going to be recorded from, it's unacceptable. But if it's just the audition, right? Authenticity. The second most important thing is comprehension of the commercial copy. You'll find a lot of new talent, they just totally miss those nuances, right? And this comes from just me directing and training talent, either on demos or I do a little bit of coaching. And that just comes with time, right? You have to read thousands and thousands of scripts. And if you really miss those copywriters' beats, and the copywriter a lot of times is listening to those auditions, if they see you gloss over this gem that they wrote that you don't know about, they're gonna almost be offended, maybe, right? It's just like, that took me 4 weeks to write this exact perfect gem, and you just threw it away, or improvised over it, right? So comprehension of the commercial copy, because it's such a nuanced style of copywriting that needs to be honored. And the third is having a strong point of view, because if it's just you kind of guilty of this, right? Like, oh, this looks like it's okay, friendly and warm. All right, hi, I'm being friendly and warm, right? I'm so friendly and warm. Does this seem authentic? No. I might be comprehending the copy, okay, but do I have a point of view? No, I'm just being friendly and warm, right? It's something I'm always trying to work on as a voice talent. So if you can bring some strong angle to it, but not too far off their spec, that's going to be a win, because it's already going to stick out because everyone else is going to be trying to match that spec. And is that a point of view if they just gave you friendly and warm?
What would be an example of a point of view?
Well, using something maybe either yourself or speaking from the point of view of someone you know. So let's say it's like a Coca-Cola ad, and myself, I don't drink. I haven't had soda in years, right? So I can't really relate. So, but I might have a friend who's like wears Coca-Cola shirts all the time, or every time we go out to dinner, he gets a Diet Coke, right? So I'm going to speak from his point of view. If it's more nuanced and it's like about courage and strength, then we can all relate to that because we all have to apply that, right? But what's something in my life that I need all that strength and courage from, like getting through high school. It's one for me, right? I don't So that would be one, because high school is really hard for me, right? So like I could go back there, and that's a point of view that's very specific and clear versus just like having courage.
Tell us a little bit about the process or about the microphone that you helped design.
Sure. So about the Roswell Pro Audio Ravo. Years ago, there's a website called recordinghacks.com, and the owner of it and I kind of had a Twitter relationship. Sounds kinky. It's nothing special. But we knew each other on Twitter for years because we both liked audio and gear. And I had the specific position of being a voice talent, even though I was newer. And he trusted me enough to where when he created his own boutique mic company called Roswell Pro Audio years ago, he wanted to address a problem that he hears from engineers, that with the standard staple go-to voiceover mics, that engineers say that they can be too bright, too sibilant. There's some things they don't like about them on voice, because they weren't designed just for voiceover, right? They're like a vocal mic or used on guitars, and they work good on most voices and they're great, but there are these problems that he always heard, and there wasn't really a high quality voiceover specific mic that addressed these problems. So he came to me, and I was very fortunate. I was like, yeah, sure, great, let's do it. So he sent me batches, like 4 mics at a time, with like unlabeled and stuff. Felt like so like black market or something. It's like, get the box of mics, and I'm like, going to my basement, so I'd put 4 up at a time, and I would speak the same phrase into it in different, and adjust proximity and gain levels and brightness, and I would take notes on a mic A, B, C, D, and send all those notes back to him. So I had the easy job. He had to like take them all apart and do all the soldering and really nerdy stuff. So just a few iterations of that, and we had the voicing, how we wanted it to sound, right? It's kind of like any piece of audio gear you create. It has kind of a signature sound to it, and its intention was to kind of take out the boominess that exists in a lot of small rooms, small booths. They sound boxy, so it does it automatically with a high pass filter, and then it tames the top end a bit more than most of the popular VO mics. It's a smoother top end, so it works really good on female voices, which tend to be more sibilant. And it's very boutique. It's like it was an honor to work with them, and yeah, it was fun. It's a great high quality mic, so people seem to be really happy with it. Are we kind of doing these in takes? We're done with the take. Something that I did for fun when I was 10 years old that I could do now as an adult is play Lion King in the fields behind my house. When I was a kid, behind our backyard there were these fields, and my next door neighbor and I, we would like I don't know if I ever told him like we didn't call it Lion King. I just think I was too embarrassed. I kept it in my head because it wasn't very cool sounding. But I imagine, because Lion King was hot when I came out at that age, and so it was like a safari. It's Colorado, and it's not Africa, but it was very high grass, and there was this one area that had like 3 to 4 trees. Everything was just like dead tall grass. It was ugly, but there's this little tree area with like snakes and branches and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, that's where the hyenas are. And so I would just like hang out there and, use your imagination and not actually have adult responsibilities for once, right? So that's something I feel like I do on a more adult level. We haven't been on a hike since we've been here, sadly, or at least in a forest. But in Colorado, when I go on hikes, I just get this tendency, this urge to like go off the trail. So I'll just see like something up there, like boulders or something. I'm like, I want to be on that boulder. I want to be Mufasa now, You deliberately disobeyed me. But sorry, that line just stays in my head. But I as an adult, I'll run off the trail sometimes, and just like not too far off like an idiot and die. Like have to have a rescue mission, like all these
Well, you are still here, thank God.
Yeah, but hopefully, but might get burned by a fire soon. But help! I'm hiking in a fire. That's something I could still do to a form. It's that adventurous, like, go off the beaten path. Don't have to worry about anything. No stimulation other than like actual real things like trees. Something cool enough that I've worked on that you may know my voice from. Right when I moved here in LA last year, I got to go into Warner Brothers and record Geostorm, the lowest rated film of 2017. I'm in it! And I was the voice of like the NASA computer. What was the line? Just something like, Project Geostorm ending in 3, 2, 1. One of those typical AI sort of
Kind of
things.
like a Hal voice.
Yeah, like a youngish Hal. Jordan Reynolds, the younger Hal.